Hey guys, so today's word of the day is going to be Proverbs 9:10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. First, you have to start fearing the Lord. One of the things that I realized is that a lot of people, and don't mind me, I'm trying to have my daily walk, get my steps in. One of the things that I noticed is that religion sometimes makes us think, that we go to church, we listen to some sermons, even we read the Bible, etc., and it just becomes a routine. But God doesn't want a routine. He wants a relationship with you. He doesn't want you just going through the motions and doing the things that, you think that you need to do, but not having any intimate connection with Him. If you start fearing the Lord for real, then you wouldn't do a whole bunch of things that you do, because you would have wisdom, you would have revelation, you would read the Bible, you would see the things that the Lord, like when you read the Bible, you notice the things that God wants and what He doesn't want, what He likes and what He doesn't like. There was a story in Acts about some guy that sold his land, and then he went with his wife and they said, hey, you know what, I'm going to keep some of the money from the land sale, and then I'm going to give the rest, right? So he goes up to Paul and he gives him the money and tells him that was all the money, and then he ends up dropping dead. Paul said, hey, wasn't the land yours? Like, why did you need to lie? God doesn't need you to lie. He already knows the truth. Don't test the Lord by lying to Him. Work on yourself. Begin to read the Word. See what it is that God likes, what He doesn't like, and be doers of the Word, not just readers of the Word. We can't just sit here and say that we're children of God, but continue to lie on people, continue to cause drama, or idolize things. We have to walk in the ways of the Lord, and those are not the ways of the Lord. And one of the beginning of the steps is having the fear of the Lord, knowing that God is not something to play with, knowing that, you have to live a certain way, because it's not just that for show. It's not just acts. It's not just, I read the Bible, I go to church, and that's it. No, it's if you really do have a connection with the Lord, you know that He's with you all the time, and that you have to carry yourself accordingly, and that you have to deal with people accordingly. Another thing that I want to say is focus on yourself. All right. If you're going through a situation, whether in marriage, whether in relationships with family members, or whatever the case might be, the only person that you can focus on and change is yourself.